Once again, thank you, my friends, for your suggestions for video topics. And today, this one comes from, we'll call her Tiff, and I quote, "Can you do a video on the left-hand path in guilt? I'm struggling with this right now and would love to hear your opinion on this." Now, when I think of guilt in the left-hand path, I go to the philosophy of the man I consider the godfather of modern sinistrous thought, Nietzsche. And he had quite a bit to say on the subject. But to understand his perspective, one must first understand that people are savage by nature. Violence is inherent in the character of the human animal. We share this trait with our fellow primate, the chimp. They become enraged, they kill, they even wage war. We are, at our core, barbaric, and we have been that way for hundreds of thousands of years. But with the establishment of civilization and later the Christian church, that savagery has been replaced by slave morality, and thus that savage instinct has been curtailed. And under such conditions, the destructive nature of the human animal is constricted, and therefore that savage instinct turns inward. This is Nietzsche's concept of what guilt is. Instead of roaming in the wilderness, surviving by way of our barbaric instincts, individuals now turn themselves into a place of torture. Your will to power, a person's instinct for freedom, is thus driven back, suppressed, imprisoned within. In this sense, guilt provides a pretext for self-punishment for moral wrongdoings. This trait has become so ingrained within the psyche that even though we may have given up on the church, we still feel its influence. It's internalization in which aggressive instincts curbed by civilized society are legitimized and turned inwards upon ourselves. And Nietzsche suggests that there's a basic human tendency to experience pleasure in inflicting suffering even upon ourselves. Think about that. And with the invention of the Christian God, we have that perpetual guarantee that we deserve punishment for having aggressive animal instincts. Thus, this form of bad conscience gains its value from the same origin as the instincts it opposes. Look at it this way: guilt is the encouragement of self-cruelty, and it focuses attention on feelings of personal failure rather than that focus being on the person wronged. Our psyches have conditioned us to deal with personal wrongdoings in the same fashion as the greater society does. In a civilized society, we punish the wrongdoers, right? We imprison them and in some cases execute them. And the moral framework behind the code that enacts this punishment is based upon Judeo-Christian morality. Thus, guilt is a byproduct of that morality. And no matter how hard we try, we can't seem to shake off that Christian influence. So, what do? We sinistrous, we on the left-hand path, how do we deal with guilt? We start by learning from our failures rather than torture ourselves over them. If we feel we wronged others, we don't beat ourselves up over it. We face the reality of our mistakes and apologize. But first, we apologize to ourselves, because we've broken that moral code not based on Christian morality, but instead on that we have created for ourselves as sinistrous. Because that's what we do on this path. We reevaluate all values and create our own code and live by it. And the number one code of the sinistrous should be, do not torture thyself. In conclusion, we on the left-hand path must continue to learn from our mistakes, not torture ourselves over them, because this path is all about growth and empowerment. And our failures make us stronger. That's how we learn, grow, become more knowledgeable. But those who ignore their faults learn nothing. And those who beat themselves up over them lose everything. How we deal with struggle is the measure of the human being. Because whatever doesn't kill us